I'm a farmer. I'm an urban farmer. I grow vegetables from sprouts, microgreens, baby greens, up to mature vegetables and also fresh herbs. I grow my vegetables indoors and also in a greenhouse. I use my room, my dining room, and also a small greenhouse bucket.
Every generation has the responsibility of preserving the environment for the generations to follow, and also for the other species that share our planet.
This episode is all about how achieving sustainability and resilience in our food systems requires us to address social and environmental injustices first. It requires the empowerment of marginalized people, youth, women, and respect for other living species. Only then can we really transform scarcity into abundance for all.
We are joined in the studio today by Proud and Admire. They took part in the Co-Create Change Storytelling Workshop program, from which this podcast series was born, and they'll be guiding us through some of the stories of change. Welcome to you both. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Admire Gwatidzo from Kufunda Learning Village. I'm a permaculturist and also a community coordinator.
Hi everyone, my name is Proud Nyakuni. I'm from Marangi and I work with the Sadao Trust. I'm the Legal and Programs Officer as well as the Women Forum Coordinator. We mainly work with women to ensure that they are able to adapt and being resilient to climate change issues to ensure that there's food and nutrition security in our communities.
Thanks so much. Let's go straight into the stories. Over to you.
Land ownership in Zimbabwe is complex and involves a variety of social factors, as well as being complicated by a range of different tenure systems. Zimbabwe is a landlocked country covering 39 million hectares of land, and historically, we have had a highly skewed and land distribution pattern in favor of large-scale commercial farmers. The fast-track land reform program, which began in 2002, aimed to address unequal access to land by redistributing land from large private landowners to small farmers. Over 150,000 resettled farming households benefited from the program. Land rights in Zimbabwe, however, remain rather insecure, with many large-scale farmers fearing eviction and many resettled farmers also having insecurity of tenure. For small-scale farmers, a lack of title deeds prevents them from accessing formal financing or from selling their property. In 2024, around 38% of Zimbabwe population, or more than 6 million people, live in urban areas. Urban areas, especially in less affluent neighborhoods, are often densely populated and residents face particular and pertinent food insecurity issues. Our first storyteller is Nyasha Deneri from Mutare. Nyasha is an urban farmer who was facing food insecurity and as a result, courageously began making the most of her very limited space. Nyasha has turned her living room and backyard into a vibrant urban mini farm, showcasing how creativity and dedication can, to an extent, overcome space constraints. Let's hear from Nyasha about her inspiring journey.
I'm a farmer. I'm an urban farmer. I grow vegetables from sprouts, microgreens, baby greens, up to mature vegetables and also fresh herbs. I grow my vegetables indoors and also in a greenhouse. I use my room, my dining room, and also a small greenhouse bucket.
Nyasha's approach highlights the potential of innovative approaches to urban farming to address food insecurity and inspire others to use their resources wisely.
Thanks, Proud. Nyasha is really quite a force. But her story is actually very familiar to many people living in towns. Urban agriculture, the production of food and non-food crops and animal husbandry in urban areas has been rapidly grown over the past few years. It can take the form of community farming, peri-urban plots, and most commonly backyard gardening. COVID-19 put extra pressure on our urban populations to grow their own, given that they could not travel to rural areas. More recently, inflation has also meant that the cost of households' provisions has continued to rise, and so growing food has become a survival strategy for urban dwellers, especially those in less affluent neighborhoods. In Blawayo, Auport Ndebele is making a difference with his urban backyard garden. Despite water challenges, Auport's garden provides fresh produce and savings while also fostering community connections. Let's hear from Auport about his urban farming experience.
A remarkable shift in reduction of reliance on store-bought food products is the biggest outcome of the backyard farming projects that I have witnessed. For some who have upscaled their production, surplus yields have become an opportunity for additional income, and this is through selling to their neighbors. This entrepreneurial aspect has not only enhanced financial stability, but also fostered a stronger sense of community collaboration and support.
So Auport's story highlights how backyard gardening can be a powerful tool for personal and community resilience, but also remind us of urgent needs for the most marginalized urban communities to gain access to community gardens and space for food production. With innovative practice like raised beds, stacked farm, hydroponics, roof garden, vertical garden, it does not need to be a big space to reap big benefits in terms of urban food security for those who need it. As a permaculture practitioner, I'm confident that our permaculture principles of earth care, people care, fair share can be useful here in making sustainable and fair use of urban agriculture spaces.
Wow, thanks for sharing Auport's story with us, Admire. So far, we've been hearing some wonderfully inspiring stories about young and innovative Zimbabwean. Urban farmers, urban women. But we need to remember that gender inequalities are still a really big issue when it comes to food security and to unsustainable food systems. Women in Zimbabwe still face challenges in terms of accessing and owning land, with men still legally or formally owning most of the land. Women usually access land through their male relatives, and in communal and resettlement areas often face difficult controlling or owning land. It tends to be a bit more progressive in towns, but we are still fighting for equal rights and for upliftment in the face of a long history of marginalization. Upliftment often comes in the form of resources, including knowledge. They say knowledge is power after all. So next, we turn our attention to Basil Maseko's story. He reflects on his experience of working on a bio-fortification project with women in rural Zimbabwe. The project targets women, aiming to not only improve nutrition, but also to enhance the economic well-being of households in these communities. Here's Basil speaking about this work.
On the basis of this, I undertook part in a project by the Community Capacity Building Initiative Center for Africa, which was aimed at empowering women through cropping bio-fortified foods. The foods that they planted were Nua fortified beans, orange sweet potato, and the yellow maize. So the program had a systematic way whereby women were taught how to crop and harvest these bio-fortified foods. Beyond that, they had demonstration sites whereby they taught women in particular and largely how to plant these crops.
Another inspirational story comes from my colleague, Cosmas Sunguro, who is the chairperson of Zidao Trust in Chiadzwa Mtari, which I'm also a part of. His audio shares a story of change concerning a goat-bearing project in Chiadzwa, which is a drought-prone area with high levels of poverty and inequality. This grassroots initiative aims to empower the local community by providing a sustainable source of income and other resources.
We started a goat rearing project, which is a grassroots effort to help the community overcome these challenges and build a better future. As Chiadzwa Goat Project members, we envision an inclusive community that is equitably and sustainably uses available resources to socially, economically, culturally, and technologically empower citizens that will be able to participate in shaping their own destiny. The future looks brighter for the people of Chiadzwa. The goat breeding and rearing project is just one part of our plan to improve their lives and their community.
I can also testify that the project has significantly improved the livelihoods of vulnerable women, who now use the proceeds from goat sales to cover essential expenses, including education and health care. Women in rural areas need these kinds of initiatives that empower us with resources and allow us to build greater resilience.
We have considered access to land, urban food production, and women's empowerment. Let's also think about Mother Earth, the rights of nature, the ecologies that we call home. Our next storyteller, Marcos Ndebele, is advocating for eco-friendly pest management solutions. After seeing the negative impact of artificial pesticides, Marcos turned to natural methods that protect both the environment and biodiversity.
My heart ached when I visited a cucumber farmer in Deta in 2017 and saw bee kennels without bees. No one could give an explanation of what had happened. But after some research, I discovered that an uninformed farmer nearby had used a broad-spectrum pesticide. Bees died, pollination ceased, and cucumber yields were affected. At that moment, I saw the need for eco-friendly pesticides and explored ways of enhancing my knowledge on the subject for the benefit of upcoming communal and urban farmers. With the help of agroecology aspects, I learned of the importance of plants like garlic, pepper, tobacco, gum tree leaves, and marigolds as pest regulators and repellents. Every generation has the responsibility of preserving the environment for the generations to follow, and also for the other species that share our planet. More sustainable, healthy, and just food systems can be built upon this knowledge of and for the respect of biodiversity and the interconnectedness of the living world.
So Marcos' story promotes environmental friendly pest management practices to protect biodiversity and improve agricultural sustainability. After witnessing the detrimental effects of broad-spectrum pesticides on bees and other beneficial organisms, Marcos explored and advocated for natural pest control methods. His research into eco-friendly pesticides, such as garlic, pepper, and marigolds, has led to more sustainable farming practices that respects the interconnectedness of ecosystem. Marcos' efforts underscore the importance of integrating knowledge about biodiversity into farming. His story brings an important environmental justice perspective to our understanding of food systems.
Thank you, Proud and Admire, for joining us for this episode of the Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems series. This episode has focused on social and environmental ethics.
Through listening to each other's stories, we suggest that social justice and equity are also not just goals, they are prerequisites for any real sustainable change. When we ensure fairness and inclusion within the food system, we create the foundation for practices that can endure over time. This means respecting the roles of all the actors, from local farmers to urban consumers, and ensuring that policies support equitable access and benefits for everyone involved.
Moreover, as Makosi's story reminded us, sustainability is not just about humans. It's about recognizing our deep connection with the natural world. Good agri-food practices require that we avoid overexploitation and ensure that our actions support and regenerate the health and diversity of ecosystems we depend on.
Our stories and experiences motivate us to suggest the following recommendations. Promote urban agriculture by providing resources, training, and mentorship to optimize space and increase production in small or underutilized brownfield areas, empowering food and secure urban communities to grow their own. Also support urban community gardens and initiatives to build local food production, distribution, and marketing networks or cooperatives.
We need to develop and fund educational training programs targeting low-income women and underemployed youth, including practical training in agricultural value addition and entrepreneurship.
There needs to be an empowerment of marginalized urban populations by supporting low-input organic farming methods through education, incentives, and investments, which will improve social and environmental justice in urban areas.
And finally, we want to see promotion of research and education on eco-friendly pest management techniques and support for the use of safe, natural pest control methods to protect our biodiversity and ecosystems.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration of social and environmental ethics with inspiring stories from across Zimbabwe. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. Stay tuned for more stories that inspire and solutions that drive positive change. You can listen to more inspiring stories of change and get further information by visiting our website. Check it out by searching Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems Story Map or follow us on YouTube.
This was Sydney Mangweka
And Rudo Chakanyuka.
on behalf of the Co-Create Change team. Thank you for listening.